quick warning. In this video, at the end, I was a dum-dum and I set my camera up at, like, facing towards the window, so there's changing light conditions, which means that the video has a lot of flickering. I tried fixing this. It would be better if I had a pro version of DaVinci Resolve, but I don't, because that would fix it tremendously. So yeah, if you have, like, epilepsy or anything, or, like, flickering lights bother you, do not watch the end of the video. I'll put, I'll notify you when I'm about to start that point, but yeah. So one of the new ways I make fursuit heads now, well, this was from a few years ago because I've kind of taken a break for a bit, but I actually make the patterns digitally just because I felt like I wanted to try something different, it was new, and I kind of like just how easy it is to do this. So what I did first is I took pictures of, like, the bucket heads from the front and profile, so it was just like this. I use paint tool style, you can use whatever you want, really. So then I did eventually sketch two things. I was like, I don't really like this as much, and I fixed it a little bit more. I'm like, oh, I like this. This was my original sketch, and I didn't really care about lining it up. I just wanted to kind of make it just look to what I want. But yeah, so I want to first highlight, when you make the bucket head, it is good to obviously mark out where their eyes are. I already marked out where I'm going to cut the mouth out. My eyes, like if I were to look directly, they kind of sit right where these crosshairs are, if you see them. And then this is the bottom. This line corresponds to the bottom of the mouth. This was, like, kind of right where the mid is. This is kind of right where my eyes are. Like, this line goes right through kind of the middle of my eyes, I guess. And then I just drew another line just because. But from top to bottom, this is actually, like, at 7 4/10. That's why I put that on the side. So from, like, here to here, that will be important for making your ruler later, so you can scale up the patterns and print it so it's printed to scale, so you know what you're doing. But yeah, so, like, I took the sketch. I did eventually line it up. You can tell I kind of moved this around a little bit, and then I basically lined it up with this. I started with the eyes first just because I wanted to see and use it. But so the eyes, and then you want to draw a straight line, like, because the muzzle always hits right here, and so does the chin. I'll show you later with the chin what I do, because I have, well, 4 different pieces I cut out, but 2 are the same. Like, 2 are the same, and then 2 are the same. So, it kind of in pairs. So I would sketch out the muzzle, like what I want. The eyebrows, I like to kind of fade the eyebrows kind of back in towards like this area. You don't have to do that. This is the front view. I don't really use it that much. I mostly use it for the eyes and then the eyebrows, like the pieces when I cut them out. So this is kind of rough. You want to have cheekbones kind of be like right here. So let's see. I think, yeah. So, like, if your character is smiling, you see how it kind of, like, it's more subtle compared to, like, if it's frowning, it'll go, whoa, straight down. And then you obviously want to cut the muzzle off, different from the eyebrows. Like, that's where I cut it off right here. The muzzle, this piece is separate. I'll kind of try to describe it later. The horns, I did completely differently. I did a completely different method. I made them from, like, sculpting clay and then upscaling, kind of similar to this method that I'm doing here. So on top of that, what I did is I finally went ahead and I made my pattern pieces that I wanted. So there's generally a few pieces. I have a lot. It looks like a lot, but that's just because I know what I'm doing. With certain pattern pieces, you want to keep separate in a way. So here's my ruler is, like, right here. Let's see, nostrils, that was just add-on. I did that later. Eyes, it's just there. The inner chin is the part that kind of butts up right against this. These are the 2 innermost pieces that I use, and then the chin outer is actually, like, the outermost. It's a pair. There's one on one side, on the right side, and one on the left side, and it's an outermost piece that kind of butts up to the main cheek, which I have I call it the inner cheek, which is, like, the main. This is the first layer that you do on top of the foam. You'll see me do it later, like, obviously, but And then the outer is kind of like the cheekbone, like everyone uses, like when they're detailing, like when they're doing their makeup, that's the cheekbone that they want to accentuate. Eyebrow, I just decided to do the eyebrow. I forgot, I didn't do the eyebrow. I just kind of made like a general pattern of what I would do. This is the eyebrow piece. I think I used 2, but I'm not sure. You can always cut more pieces if you want. The muzzle I actually split up into 2 pieces like the chin. So the inner part is the inner 2. These 2 are glued together. It's 2 pieces of foam that are glued together, 2 and 1 inch pieces. So it kind of creates this shape. This just hollows it out because you don't really need that space. It lets you breathe a little bit more. And then the outer part is like the chin situation where you have one piece that's just kind of out there, and then like on one piece on the left side, one piece on the right that kind of sandwiches those 2 inner pieces. And then obviously line. So what I did is I like copy pasted all these to a separate file, saved it as a PNG. Basically you want to make sure like everything lines up when you're making this. Like what I mean by that is you kind of want to line it up as close as possible as where you think your eye will be. I put this here. I can still see through the eye, because my eye was like right about here. I can still see quite a bit, but you might want to do a better job than I did, but that's okay. You can always play around with this. See, I kind of lined up the eyebrows as much as I could to where I usually place them, which they kind of usually overlap right here. The chin, I usually keep it right about here, and then like it kind of hangs off a little bit, so it's not more like, it makes a little bit more sense. And then you don't have to do this. I drew out kind of the general line. He has crests that I cut out completely separately. I don't show that in the video. But, so you save this, you save it as a PNG. I have them as all different pieces right here and a giant layer, just because you can move them around if you want when you go to paint. Like you can see sometimes the pages separate them in half, and I'm like, oh, I don't really want that. So I'd come back and move them a little bit, and then put it back in paint and line it up. You don't have to do that. I mean, a lot of the big pieces you might actually have to just print out and then like cut and then tape together. But you really want this ruler right here. This is, I'm gonna call it your ruler. When you go over to paint, you want to open up a new file, obviously, and then the image properties, you go under file, image properties, set to inches. This is so your ruler shows up. Your ruler, you will take it off here under view. Originally it'll be in pixels, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, since Windows 11 is kind of weird, I just pasted in my file. So what you want is you want that 7 4/10 to basically, ooh, I noticed it's not completely straight. Uh-oh, oh well, it's fine. You can kind of, as long as you're close to it, it's fine. But you basically want it to be kind of as close to 7 4/10 as possible. And what I mean by that is you want to like kind of keep expanding the canvas and fiddling around with it until you get it to basically be almost in 7 4/10. Let's see, there's like, this is like 3/10, so I'll have to add to that, so it'll be like 7 7/10. So what you can do is you can actually like scale it up with percentages. So let's say like 120. Kind of close, kind of at the 7 mark. So I would just maybe a little bit more, and then you could print it out. It would be perfect. So let's say, oh, I want to go and print this out now. Ooh, you want to go to page setup first under print. Like you go file, page, and then you want to do it by adjust 100%. So you see how there's 3x2 pages. Yeah, that's kind of what you want. And you can fiddle around with portrait or landscape, whatever one you want. Okay. Print preview. I like doing that. I like previewing what I'm going to print out. So you know what I mean earlier where you said you can move around stuff if you want. You can still do that in Paint. You can literally just like use the lasso tool and kind of move stuff around. I tried to get the pieces as much as possible as like one, but it doesn't matter. You can just cut and tape them together. That's kind of what happens. So when you're ready to print, you obviously go and print it. So yeah. Alright, the rest of the video is basically me putting everything together, and this is where it gets all flickery and weird and stuff, so yeah. Be warned, don't watch if you don't think you can handle it. It's not that bad, but it's just still like, ugh. So here I'm just gluing the muzzle pieces together. I always do that first. You can kind of see the inner and outer muzzle pieces, and the jaw pieces I was talking about earlier. So I obviously just kind of glue these together and make sure they're kind of in the right place. I'm very meticulous when I do this. I start doing like a rough shave. It's not that, like, it's more just smoothing the corners. I do a final shave at the end. And then next I usually just start with the cheek pieces. And then also I start on the eyebrows too. I think I separated the nose bridge a little bit. Like, I made it completely separate. I just wanted to try something new. So as you can see, the pieces are kind of going together exactly like I showed you. Like, and then there's that cheek piece, that high cheekbones, as I like to call them. Oh yeah, no, I did. Okay, yeah. So here, I also added another piece of foam on top of the eyebrows. I think it was like 1/2 inch foam. Most of the foam I'm using here is, well, actually all of it is 1 inch, except for that piece, and I think the nostrils as well. So here I am. This is where I start actually trimming everything down, like my final trim, making it look nice. I highly recommend getting a little bust dummy thingy like that. He's like $90. I wouldn't recommend it if you only do this once. I mean, you can if you want to, but you can find other sources to do that. I just like using it. It's very helpful when I'm working on him. And then again, me being really like weird about making it trim well. So yeah.